Nearly 34% of U.S. home sellers cut their list price in February 2026, a record high. In San Antonio, 57.9% of sellers slashed prices last month alone. Miami is drowning under almost a full year of unsold inventory. Austin's median price has collapsed 25% from its 2022 peak. Phoenix sellers are accepting nearly $9,000 below asking on average. Days on market are stretching past 90 in some markets, cancellations are climbing, and entire Sunbelt cities have flipped overnight. This isn't a correction, it's a reckoning. Today, we reveal the 10 U.S. states where home sellers are panicking the most. Number 10, Utah. Utah's housing market is quietly cracking, and most people haven't noticed yet. This was supposed to be bulletproof. St. George and Salt Lake City were among the fastest appreciating markets in the entire country during the pandemic. Remote workers fleeing California poured in, snapping up homes at prices that would have seemed insane just 3 years earlier. Now those buyers are the ones panicking. As of April 2026, Utah's active inventory has climbed back above pre-pandemic 2019 levels, one of only 15 states in the country to cross that threshold. That means the market has fully unwound every supply gain from the boom years, and then some. Sellers who bought at the 2022 peak are discovering their homes are worth less today than what they paid. January 2026. Data from Catality shows Utah home prices down 1.11% year over year, a number that seems small until you understand what it represents. This is a state that was posting double-digit annual gains just 24 months ago. The reversal is stunning. Homes that once received multiple offers the same weekend they listed are now sitting for 60, 70, even 80 days with no serious interest. Sellers are making concession after concession, covering closing costs, offering rate buydowns, throwing in repair credits, just to keep a deal alive. In the new construction corridor stretching from Saratoga Springs to Eagle Mountain, builders have flooded the market with inventory, compounding the oversupply already building in resale. Contract cancellations are climbing. Buyers are locking in contracts and then walking away when inspections reveal how much negotiating power they actually have. Utah sellers thought their equity was safe. They're learning it wasn't. The Mountain State dream is melting fast. Number 9, Oregon. Oregon's housing market is in serious distress, and Portland is ground zero. After years of being one of the Pacific Northwest's most coveted markets, the city is now a cautionary tale of what happens when pandemic-era demand evaporates and inventory floods in. Active listings across the state have climbed well above pre-pandemic 2019 levels, with Portland bearing the sharpest pain. A home that sold in 11 days in 2021 now lingers for 48 to 55 days on average. In Salem and Eugene, properties are routinely sitting 60 or more days without going under contract. Sellers are bleeding cash to get deals done. Concessions, closing cost coverage, mortgage rate buydowns, repair credits are no longer negotiating tactics. They're the price of admission. Packages worth $15,000 to $25,000 per transaction are becoming standard across the metro. The condo market has collapsed outright. Portland high-rise units that once drew bidding wars are now sitting with multiple price reductions, some slashed by 20% or more from their asking price. Entire buildings are in distress as early buyers find themselves underwater on mortgages they stretched to afford. Contract cancellations are on the rise, with nearly 1 in 6 deals falling apart before closing. Buyers are walking away, using inspection contingencies to exit contracts while betting prices will be lower in 6 months. They're usually right. Oregon's pandemic boom has fully flipped into a bust. The migration inflows from California and other high-cost states that once powered demand have slowed dramatically, leaving behind bloated inventory and desperate sellers with no exit. For Oregon homeowners, 2022's equity highs feel like a distant memory. Number 8, Washington. Washington's housing market isn't just cooling, it's cracking. Seattle, once the undisputed star of the West Coast, has tumbled hard into buyers' market territory. Cotality's January 2026 data shows Washington posting year-over-year price declines. Active listings remain stubbornly above pre-pandemic 2019 levels, a signal that supply has overwhelmed demand at nearly every price point. For sellers who rode the wave of bidding wars that pushed homes $100,000 over asking. In 2021 and 2022, today's market feels like a different planet. Homes that moved in 18 days during the frenzy are now sitting for 50 days or more. The pain is sharpest in the condo market. King County condos are piling up, with many units requiring 2 or 3 price reductions before receiving a single serious offer. Some have been cut by 20% or more. Sellers are now routinely covering closing costs, offering mortgage rate buydowns, and accepting offers well below list price, concessions that would have been unthinkable at the market's peak. Even the suburbs haven't escaped. Tacoma and Spokane are dealing with their own inventory surges, with supply pushing well past the 5-month mark that officially defines a buyer's market. Investors who piled into short-term rentals expecting perpetual appreciation are now listing at losses, adding more pressure to an already saturated market. Contract cancellations are rising, with buyers increasingly willing to walk away after going under contract when they realize the market keeps softening. Sellers clinging to 2022 valuations are watching their homes rot on the MLS for months. Washington isn't stabilizing, it's unraveling. And for homeowners counting on that equity, the worst may still be ahead. Number 7. Idaho. Idaho is the quiet crisis on this list, overlooked by national headlines, but hiding some of the most dramatic market deterioration in the entire country. Boise was one of the single hottest housing markets of the entire pandemic era. From 2020 to 2022, prices in the metro exploded by over 60%, fueled by a mass exodus of Californians, Oregonians, and Washingtonians chasing affordability and space. The city became a symbol of the Sun Belt migration boom. Now it's a symbol of what comes after. As of early 2026, Idaho's active inventory has risen above pre-pandemic 2019 levels, a threshold that historically predicts meaningful price softening. And softening is exactly what's happening. The buyers who drove that migration wave have slowed to a trickle. Remote work policies that once freed workers to flee coastal cities have tightened. Those who stayed in Boise are discovering there isn't enough local income to support the prices out-of-state buyers set. Homes are sitting. Days on market have stretched dramatically from the frenzied single-digit pace of 2021 and 2022. Sellers who bought at the top and now need to move, whether for jobs, family changes, or financial pressure, are being forced to accept harsh realities at the closing table. Concessions are standard. Price reductions have become routine. Many listings have been cut multiple times before drawing any interest at all. New construction in Ada County and the surrounding communities has added a persistent layer of competing supply. Idaho sellers thought the migration would never stop. It stopped. And now they're left holding the bag. Number 6. Maryland. Maryland's housing market is fracturing under the weight of rising inventory and stalled demand, with Baltimore and its surrounding suburbs leading the pain. Active listings have jumped nearly 31% year over year, pushing statewide supply above levels not seen in over a decade. The months of supply figure has crossed 5.1 months statewide, officially planting Maryland in buyer's market territory for the first time since before the pandemic boom. Prices are bending under the pressure. The median sales price in Maryland, which peaked near $435,000 in 2022, has fallen to around $389,000 in 2026, wiping out roughly $46,000 in equity for the average homeowner. In Baltimore City, the decline is even sharper. Homes that commanded $320,000 just 2 years ago are now struggling to attract offers above $275,000, a drop of more than 14%. Concessions have exploded. Nearly 58% of all Maryland home sales now include seller-paid incentives, ranging from mortgage rate buydowns worth $15,000 to full coverage of buyer closing costs. Builders in Howard and Anne Arundel counties are dangling upgrade packages averaging $25,000 per home just to move standing inventory. Days on market have surged. In 2022, the typical Maryland listing sat for 19 days. Today, that number is 52 days, and many Baltimore listings are rotting for over 70 days without a single offer. Contract cancellations have climbed to 18% of pending sales, leaving sellers blindsided at the closing table after thinking they had a deal. Maryland's problem is structural: stagnant population growth, bloated inventory, and homes priced beyond what local buyers can afford. The result is a perfect storm, and sellers are trapped inside it. Number 5. Tennessee. Tennessee was supposed to be the last market standing in the South. Nashville and Knoxville were migration magnets. Investors poured in. Builders couldn't keep up with demand. But in 2026, even Tennessee is buckling, and the numbers are impossible to ignore. Nashville sellers now outnumber buyers by 119%, making it one of the 5 most lopsided buyers markets in the entire country, according to Redfin data. Active inventory has surged dramatically year over year as Tennessee's active listings have climbed above pre-pandemic 2019 levels. Homes in suburban Nashville that peaked at $600,000 at the top of the market are now struggling to close at $500,000 or below, a drop of more than 15%. Concessions are where the desperation is most visible. Sellers are routinely covering closing costs, offering 2-1 mortgage buydowns, and throwing in free upgrades just to get buyers to the table. Builders in Williamson and Rutherford counties are offering packages worth $20,000 or more per home, things that would have been unthinkable during the 2021 frenzy. Days on market have stretched dramatically. Nashville homes that sold in under 2 weeks at the peak now linger for 60 days or more. Contract cancellations are climbing past 14% statewide as buyers walk away after going under contract and realizing the market keeps softening. The migration wave that supercharged Tennessee's market has faded. Affordability has evaporated. Locals never could afford the prices out-of-state buyers set, and those buyers have largely stopped coming. Sellers here are learning the same brutal lesson as the rest of the Sun Belt. The frenzy is dead. Number 4. Nevada. Nevada's housing market, led by Las Vegas, has cratered, and the collapse is as dramatic as anything in the country. The city that once symbolized red-hot demand, bidding wars, and homes flying $50,000 over asking is now a graveyard of for-sale signs. Las Vegas sellers currently outnumber buyers by 101%, making it one of the 5 most extreme buyers markets in the United States. Active listings are sitting at levels not seen in years, with supply that has more than doubled since the frenzied lows of 2021. Days on market, which once hovered around 12 days at the peak, have blown out to 46 days and beyond, with many properties sitting well past 60 days without drawing a single serious offer. The bidding war era is completely over. Today's buyers aren't competing. They're demanding concessions, clawing down list prices, and forcing sellers to cover everything from closing costs to rate buydowns just to make a deal pencil out. Median home prices have collapsed from their May 2022 peak of $440,000 to around $378,000 in 2026, a 14% drop that has vaporized more than $60,000 in equity per household. The luxury market hasn't been spared. Homes priced over $1 million are stacking up with no serious buyers in sight. But the most alarming signal is contract instability. Nearly 1 in 5 deals in Las Vegas falls apart before closing, as buyers go under contract and then walk away when they realize the market is still dropping. Investors who bought short-term rentals during the boom are now dumping properties at losses, choking the market with additional supply. Sellers aren't just cutting prices. They're cutting aggressively, desperately, just to avoid being trapped holding an asset that keeps losing value. Nevada isn't in a soft landing, it's in freefall. Las Vegas, once the poster child of housing euphoria, is now the face of America's unraveling. Number 3. Arizona. Arizona's housing market is in full correction mode, and the data is brutal. Phoenix home prices fell 5.2% year over year as of March 2026, according to Redfin, with the median sale price sitting at $460,000. That's down from a peak of roughly $480,000, and the direction of travel is still pointing south. Across Greater Phoenix, active inventory has climbed 13% year over year and is now sitting at 128% of the 3-year average, meaning there are vastly more homes for sale today than the market has been used to absorbing. Sellers received an average of $8,938 below their asking price last month alone, according to local MLS data from the Cromford Report. Homes that were closing in under 10 days during the 2021 frenzy now sit for an average of 51 to 71 days before selling. Some listings have been on the market for over 150 days without an offer. The Valley currently has roughly 22,000 homes for sale, a figure that a local real estate expert describes as giving buyers more power than at any point in years. And sellers are feeling it. Price reductions are rampant. Concessions have become standard. covering closing costs, offering buydowns, accepting offers well below list price. The Phoenix condo market is in particularly rough shape, with units in oversupplied suburbs sitting longest and cutting deepest. Builders are compounding the problem. New construction in Maricopa and Pinal counties has added a relentless stream of competing supply, with incentive packages worth tens of thousands dangled in front of buyers just to clear lots. Cotality's January 2026 data shows Arizona-wide prices down 0.61% year-over-year. The statewide number masks far deeper pain at the metro level. Arizona climbed faster than almost anywhere outside Florida and Texas. Now it's paying the same price. Sellers here are no longer pricing their homes. They're negotiating for survival. Number 2, Texas. Texas, long sold as the land of endless opportunity, has been blindsided by a tidal wave of housing oversupply. And the numbers are staggering. The state entered 2026 with approximately 128,100 active listings statewide, up 13.7% from the prior year. Austin is the epicenter. As of early 2026, Austin carries 4.77 months of inventory. Homes are averaging 89 days on market, and nearly 48% of all active listings have taken at least one price cut, the highest rate of any major metro in the country. The median sold price in Austin has collapsed to $412,250 in February 2026, down 25% from the May 2022 peak of $550,000. That's nearly $138,000 in evaporated equity per homeowner. 22.2% of Austin listings have taken multiple price reductions, another national record. In February 2026, 55.2% of Austin sellers cut their list price, second highest in the country behind only San Antonio. Across Texas, San Antonio leads the nation with 57.9% of sellers slashing prices that same month, with the city carrying over 6 months of supply and homes sitting 82 to 137 days before selling. In Houston, active listings are hovering near 35,000, levels not seen in years, giving buyers the luxury to negotiate, request concessions, and walk away from anything that isn't priced right. Sellers in Houston are covering 2 to 3% of closing costs routinely, funding rate buydowns, and accepting offers well below asking. Builders are making it worse. New construction across Texas suburbs is offering incentive packages worth up to $50,000 per home, mortgage buydowns, free upgrades, closing cost coverage, just to clear standing inventory. The state has hemorrhaged tens of billions in housing value. Contract cancellations are soaring. Texas homeowners who thought migration would sustain demand indefinitely are waking up to a brutal reality. The Lone Star housing dream isn't just correcting, it's cracking wide open. Number 1, Florida. Florida's housing crash isn't just severe, it's historic. No state in America is shedding more value, drowning in more inventory, or producing more panicked sellers. The data across every major market is alarming. Florida posted the worst year-over-year home price performance of any state in 2025, down 2.5% according to Cottality. And in 2026, that decline is accelerating. January 2026. Data shows Florida prices down 2.36% year-over-year, the sharpest decline of any state in the country. Cape Coral is the single worst-performing major metro in the nation, with home values crashing 9.6% year-over-year. Miami is drowning under nearly a full year of unsold inventory, the most extreme supply overhang of any large U.S. city. Sellers in Miami now outnumber buyers by 148%, the most lopsided ratio in the country. In Fort Lauderdale, 44.9% of sellers cut their list price in February 2026. In Tampa, 45.9% did the same. Homes in Tampa are sitting for extended periods. Sellers are covering closing costs, offering buydowns, and accepting significant reductions just to close. In the new construction market, builders are in full panic mode. Lennar and other national home builders are offering incentive packages worth tens of thousands, mortgage rate buydowns, free upgrades, closing cost credits, just to move standing inventory. And then there's the insurance crisis, which is pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. Florida homeowners are paying $3,000 to $6,000 or more annually for property insurance, costs that are pushing potential buyers out of affordability entirely and forcing more listings to stagnate. Florida is no longer just a correction story. Every major market, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Cape Coral, Fort Lauderdale, is drowning. Sellers here aren't negotiating. They're capitulating, and billions in equity are evaporating with every passing month.